I still remember the exact second it happened. My phone buzzed during class, nothing unusual. Just a text from my girlfriend, Hannah. We'd been dating for almost 2 years. She was funny, gorgeous, and the kind of girl everyone envied me for. Things weren't perfect. Of course, she'd been distant lately, glued to her phone, and sometimes I caught her hiding her screen when I walked into the room. But I brushed it off. People get busy. So when my phone lit up that afternoon with her name, I smiled. Until I opened the message. It wasn't words. It was a picture, a very private picture, of Hannah. She was in her bedroom, wearing nothing but a look that made my stomach twist. For a second, I froze. My brain didn't even process it. My girlfriend just sent me a nude in the middle of the day. We'd never really done that before. It felt bold, almost too bold. And then I noticed something. The caption, just 2 words, "Miss you," but she'd seen me that morning. We had lunch plans in 2 hours. Why would she say "miss you" like I'd been gone forever? My chest tightened. So I zoomed in on the photo. That's when I noticed another detail. On the nightstand behind her was a men's watch, not hers, not mine. I stared at it, my stomach turning. It couldn't be, right? Maybe it was her brother's. No, he'd moved out months ago. Maybe it was old, something she never threw away. But deep down, I already knew. The photo wasn't for me. My girlfriend had just sent me a private picture meant for someone else. I didn't reply right away. My hands were shaking too badly. Instead, I waited. 10 minutes later, she texted again, sorry. That wasn't for you, LOL. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. Was she insane? Then another text. I meant to send you something else. Here, look. She sent a picture of a latte with a smiley face drawn in the foam. Cute. Harmless. Like nothing had happened. But my mind was already spinning. That night, I confronted her. We were hanging out in her dorm room, and I tried to act normal at first, but I couldn't stop staring at the nightstand. The watch was gone. Finally, I said, "So, about that photo earlier." Her whole body stiffened. "What photo?" I pulled out my phone and showed her. Her face went pale. "Oh my God," she whispered. "I told you to delete that." She snatched at my phone, but I pulled it back. Who was it for? Hannah. She wouldn't meet my eyes. No one. It was just stupid. I was messing around. With who? I pressed, because that caption, sure as hell, wasn't meant for me. Her lips trembled. "You're overreacting." But the guilt was written all over her face, and I knew whatever this was, it was bigger than just one photo. Hannah tried to laugh it off. "Seriously, babe, you're making this a huge deal. It was just a dumb mistake." But I wasn't smiling. That photo wasn't meant for me. Just admit it. Her jaw tightened. "You're paranoid." The word stung. I wanted to believe her. I really did. For 2 years, I trusted this girl with everything, but my gut told me she was lying, and once that thought entered my head, I couldn't push it out. The rest of the night was awkward. She kept changing the subject, turning up the music, trying to distract me. When I finally left, she kissed me at the door like nothing was wrong, but, walking back to my apartment, I couldn't stop replaying that picture in my mind. The way she looked in it, the caption, the watch, and the way she panicked when I asked about it. The next day, I did something I never thought I'd do. I went through her social media. Not just the normal stuff, the selfies and vacation pics. I scrolled all the way down, looking for old posts, tagged photos, comments I might have missed. At first, nothing seemed off, until I noticed a pattern. There was one guy who liked almost every post. Always the first to comment, sometimes just emojis, or, other times, little inside jokes. His name was Mark. I'd met him once. A friend from work. Curiosity burned. I clicked his profile, public enough to see the basics, gym selfies, car pics, the usual. But what made my stomach churn were the captions. "Missing my girl already, counting down the hours," and the comments. One on a random meme Hannah had posted weeks ago. Can't believe you actually sent that pic. I stared at it for a long time, my heart racing. It couldn't be coincidence. The photo, the caption, the watch, all of it was connected to this guy, and Hannah thought I'd never notice. That night, I decided to test her. We were lying on her bed, scrolling through Netflix, when I casually said, "Hey, do you still talk to Mark?" Her phone slipped in her hand. She quickly recovered, forcing a smile. Sometimes. Why? I shrug. Just curious, he seemed. Close. She rolled her eyes. He's just a friend. Stopped being jealous, but her tone was sharp, defensive, like I'd hit a nerve. Later, when she went to shower, she left her phone charging by the bed. My heart pounded as I stared at it. This was my chance. My conscience screamed not to do it, but my curiosity was louder. I picked it up. Open messages. And there it was, a thread with Mark, dozens of texts, late-night chats, memes, inside jokes. And then the photos. Not just the one she'd accidentally sent me. There were dozens of them. Different outfits, different poses. Some even riskier than the one I got. And his replies sickeningly sweet. You're perfect. I can't wait to see you again. That one's my favorite. Keep it just for me. My stomach twisted. This wasn't some innocent mistake. This was a full-blown affair. I set the phone back down, just as she came out of the bathroom, hair wet, humming. She smiled at me, like nothing was wrong. And in that moment, I felt two things at once, rage and heartbreak, because the girl I knew the girl I loved was living a double life right under my nose. But the worst was still to come, because buried in that message thread, one photo stood out, not because of Hannah, but because of who was in the background. It wasn't her room. It wasn't his either. It was a hotel. And on the bed behind her was another man. I couldn't move. I just kept staring at the screen, my heart slamming against my ribs. The photo wasn't blurry. It wasn't some trick of the light. Hannah stood in front, posing with that same practice smile, but behind her, half covered by hotel sheets, was a man I'd never seen before. Not Mark. Someone else entirely. My throat went dry. One man was bad enough, but two. My mind raced through the possibilities. Maybe it was an old picture. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like. But the date stamp in the corner crushed that hope. The photo had been taken just 3 nights ago, while she was supposedly at a girls' night. I dropped the phone back on the nightstand just as she came out of the bathroom, towel wrapped around her hair. She looked so casual, so normal, scrolling through Netflix like nothing was wrong, and I realized something terrifying. She wasn't just lying. She was good at it. That night, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the photo again. The man in the hotel bed, the watch on the nightstand, the text from Mark. How many lies had she told me? How many nights had she disappeared, only to crawl back into bed with me like nothing happened? By morning, I was shaking with anger. I didn't confront her right away. No, I needed proof. If I exploded without it, she'd gaslight me, spin it around, make me feel like the crazy one. So made a plan. The next few days, I played the part of the clueless boyfriend, smiling, joking, kissing her like normal. All the while, I was watching, and that's when I noticed it. Her phone never left her side. She even carried it into the bathroom. But one night, as she dozed off with her head on my shoulder, it buzzed. I carefully slid it from her hand and peeked at the notification. A message from someone saved only as room 217. My blood froze. The text was simple. Same time next week. I shoved the phone back before she stirred. But my mind was on fire. Room 217. That wasn't a name. That was a hotel room. The next evening, I told her I was working late. Instead, I parked outside the Marriott on Fifth, the only hotel in town fancy enough to have numbers like that. For hours, I sat there, stomach twisted in knots, watching. And then, just after 9 p.m., she arrived, hair curled, dressed short, makeup perfect. She looked different, not like my girlfriend, like someone living another life. I followed her inside, keeping my distance. My heart hammered as she got into the elevator, pressed the button for the second floor, and vanished from sight. I hesitated. My rational brain screamed at me to leave, to walk away before I saw something I couldn't unsee. But my feet moved anyway. When the elevator doors opened on the second floor, I crept down the hall, every step heavier than the last dot, and then I saw it dot room to 17 dot. The door cracked open, light spilling out, voices inside. I edged closer, pulse racing, and that's when I heard her laugh, and a man's voice replying, "God, you're even better than your pictures." My knees nearly buckled. It wasn't Mark's voice. It wasn't the stranger from the hotel photo either. It was someone new, a third man. I stumbled back down the hall, my vision blurring. This wasn't just cheating. This wasn't just an affair. This was something else entirely. And as I drove home that night, gripping the wheel so hard my knuckles went white, a terrifying question formed in my mind. How many men were there? The next morning, Hannah texted me like nothing had happened. "Good morning, babe, hope you slept well." I stared at the message, bile rising in my throat. How could she be so calm, so sweet, while sneaking off to hotel rooms with strangers? I didn't reply. Not right away. I needed answers, real ones. That afternoon, I called my best friend, Jason. He'd never been Hannah's biggest fan, always claiming there was something off about her. I'd brushed it off for years, but now, "Dude," I told him, voice shaking, "she's cheating. With at least 3 guys. Maybe more," he whistled. "Man, I hate to say it, but I'm not surprised. Not surprised." I snapped. "Why didn't you ever say anything?" "Because you wouldn't have believed me," he said flatly. "But listen, you need to dig deeper. If she's juggling that many dudes, this isn't just a fling. It's a pattern." That night, I went back through her phone. I knew the passcode by heart. Her birthday. She trusted me enough to never change it. And what I found shook me worse than the photos. She had a folder in her notes app, labeled simply, "Clients." My heart sank as I scrolled through. Each entry had a name or sometimes just an initial next to a hotel, a date, and a dollar amount. $400, $600, $1,200. Dozens of entries. I realized, with a sick twist in my gut, that Hannah wasn't just cheating. She was selling herself. I sat back, my hands trembling. My girlfriend of 2 years, the girl who'd met my family, who'd talked about moving in together, was secretly living a double life as what? An escort, a sugar baby. I didn't even know what to call it. But suddenly, all the pieces clicked. The late nights, the secrecy, the random excuses, the watch, the hotel rooms. She wasn't just being unfaithful. She was running a whole other business behind my back. The worst part, I couldn't even tell if she loved me at all or if I was just some kind of cover. The next time I saw her, I couldn't hold it in. We were at dinner, her laughing at some dumb joke. When I slammed my phone on the table and said, "What the hell is this?" her smile froze. She glanced at the screen, the notes app, the client list. Her face drained of color. For a moment, she didn't speak. Then she whispered, "Where did you find that?" "Answer the question," I growled. Tears filled her eyes. "It's not what you think." I almost laughed. "Not what I think. You're cataloging men like you're running a goddamn business." She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. "Hannah, what the hell are you doing with these guys?" She looked around, lowered her voice. "Please, not here." "I'll explain, but you have to promise not to tell anyone." Her tone wasn't defensive this time. It was desperate, afraid. And that scared me more than anything. Back at her dorm, she finally broke down. "I didn't want you to find out this way," she whispered, staring at the floor. "But yes, I've been meeting men. It's not about love. It's money. Money." I barked. She nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks. I was broke. Okay. My student loans, my rent, my mom's medical bills. I didn't know what else to do. Then Mark introduced me to this, and it was easy. Too easy. Men pay for attention, for company, for photos. I was shaking. So all this time, you've been not what you think. She cut me off. It's not always physical. Sometimes it's just dinner, or pictures, or talking. But yes, sometimes more. I didn't want you to know. I thought I could keep those worlds separate. Her words echoed in my head. Two worlds. One with me, the loving girlfriend, and one with them, the client list. And she'd been bouncing between the two like it was nothing. Do you even love me? I whispered. Her silence was the loudest answer I could have gotten. I couldn't look at her. I just sat there, hands clenched, while Hannah sobbed into her palms. She tried to explain, to justify. It's not like I don't care about you, she whispered. You're the only real relationship I've ever had. Everyone else, it's business. Just business. Her words cut deeper than a knife. Business. That's all I was to her now. A boyfriend shaped shield to hide the truth. But one thing gnawed at me, louder than the heartbreak. If she was really meeting strangers for money, how safe was she? And what if it wasn't just her life at risk, but mine, too? The next night, when she said she was going to study at the library, I followed her again. She didn't go near the library. Instead, she headed to a downtown hotel different from the one I'd seen before. She wore a trench coat, heels clicking against the pavement. From across the street, I watched her walk inside and disappear. My chest tightened. I couldn't just sit there again. I had to know. I waited 15 minutes, then entered the lobby. The front desk clerk barely looked at me as I strolled past. My heart pounded as I scanned the elevators. When one opened, a man stepped out. Tall, muscular, expensive suit. But what froze me wasn't his appearance, it was the way he carried himself, like someone used to power, control, danger. And in his hand, dangling carelessly, was a hotel key card. Room 512. I ducked behind a column, pretending to check my phone as he walked past. His phone buzzed, and I heard his deep voice as he answered. Yeah, she's here. She knows the rules. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just some lonely guy paying for attention. This was something else. Something organized. I needed to see more. So I waited until the elevator came back down, then slipped in, pressing the button for the 5th floor. The hallway was silent. I crept toward room 512, every step like thunder in my ears. And then, from inside, I heard it. Not laughter. Not conversation. But arguing. A man's harsh voice. Hannah's muffled reply. And then a crash. My stomach dropped. I was about to knock hell. To kick the door down when it swung open. The man in the suit stood there, glaring down at me. For a second, we just stared at each other. Then he said, "Low and dangerous. You shouldn't be here." I froze. Heart hammering. Behind him, I caught a glimpse of Hannah. She was sitting on the edge of the bed, eyes red, mascara smeared. She didn't look like a girlfriend, or a temptress, or even a businesswoman. She looked like a prisoner. I swallowed hard. I'm just looking for the ice machine, I stammered. His eyes narrowed. For a moment, I thought he'd call me out, but then he sneered and slammed the door shut in my face. I stumbled back down the hall, adrenaline surging through my veins. That night, Hannah came home hours later. She acted like nothing happened, smiling, kissing me, curling up beside me in bed. But I couldn't stop replaying the image of her in that hotel room. The way she looked at me pleading, desperate like she wanted me to save her, but couldn't say it out loud. It hit me then. This wasn't just about money. She wasn't just cheating for fun or profit. She was trapped in something darker. And whoever that man was, he wasn't just a client. He was in control. And if I wasn't careful, he'd find out I knew. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw his face again, the man in the suit. The way he looked at me, like he already knew who I was, like he could snap his fingers and make me disappear. And Hannah, the way her eyes begged for help without saying a word, I realized something terrifying. This wasn't just about betrayal anymore. I was in danger. The next day, I confronted her. Who was he? I demanded the second she walked into my apartment. She froze, backpack slipping off her shoulder. Who? Don't play dumb, Hannah. The guy from the hotel, room 512. Her face went pale. She sat down slowly, burying her face in her hands. You shouldn't have followed me, she whispered. That sentence alone chilled me. You're scared of him, I said. Why? What is he? She shook her head. I can't tell you. Can't, or won't. Her silence was the answer. I slammed my hand on the table. Damn it, Hannah, you're in something dangerous. I saw it in your eyes. Tell me the truth before it's too late. Finally, she looked up. Tears streaked her cheeks. If I tell you, we're both screwed. He has people everywhere. He knows things about me. About you. My stomach dropped. What does that mean? She hesitated, then whispered. He records everything. The words hit me like a sledgehammer. Records. I repeated. She nodded. Every meeting. Every photo. Every video. He keeps them all. Insurance. If any of us talk. If anyone tries to leave. He threatens to release them. My blood ran cold. So it wasn't just prostitution. It was blackmail, extortion, a whole operation built on fear. I gritted my teeth. Then we go to the cops. She shook her head violently. No, you don't understand. He has cops on his payroll, judges, even professors at the university. I'm trapped. Her voice cracked. And now. So are you. For a moment, the room felt like it was closing in. I thought I was dealing with infidelity. Now I was staring at something closer to organized crime. And Hannah was caught in the middle. That night, I couldn't shake the paranoia. Every shadow outside my window felt like someone watching me. My phone buzzed twice with unknown numbers blocked before I could answer. And then, just after midnight, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. Stay away from Hannah, or we'll make you regret it. My blood turned to ice. They knew who I was. They were watching. I didn't reply. I just sat there, shaking, staring at the glow of my phone in the dark. This wasn't just Hannah's secret anymore. It was mine too. The morning after that threatening text, I felt sick. My stomach churned every time I checked over my shoulder. I hadn't told Hannah about it. I didn't know if I could trust her anymore. But one thought gnawed at me. If she was really a victim, if she truly wanted out, then why was she still meeting him? Why was she still adding to that client's list like it was just another homework assignment? Victims try to escape. Victims beg for help. But Hannah, she kept playing both sides. That night, I decided to test her. I told her I had to stay late at work, then parked 2 blocks from her dorm and waited. Sure enough, just before 9 p.m., she came out, hair done, dressed to kill, not like someone being forced, like someone who wanted to be wanted. I followed her again, this time more carefully. Instead of going downtown, she walked into a bar I'd never seen before, sleek, expensive, the kind of place guys in suits go to close deals. I slipped inside after her, keeping my distance, and that's when my blood ran cold. She wasn't meeting the man in the suit this time. She was sitting across from Mark. The same Mark I thought was just a friend from work. The same Mark who'd been liking her photos, commenting little inside jokes. The same Mark who, I realized now, had introduced her to this world in the first place. They weren't arguing. They weren't whispering in fear. They were laughing, smiling, clinking glasses, like to people in on a secret. I felt the floor tilt under me. All this time, she'd painted herself as a victim. But what if she wasn't trapped? What if she was a partner? I couldn't stop myself. I snapped a photo with my phone. Hannah and Mark, leaning in close, his hand brushing hers. She didn't pull away. She leaned closer. Then she kissed him. My chest hollowed out. The man in the hotel. The clients, the threats. Maybe it hadn't all been against her will. Maybe she was choosing this. Maybe she was even helping run it. I stumbled out of the bar, my head spinning. My whole relationship suddenly felt like a con. And when I got home, my phone buzzed again, another unknown number. Stop digging. She's not who you think she is. I stared at the message, bile rising in my throat. They were right. Hannah wasn't who I thought she was, but the terrifying part, I didn't know who she really was at all. I didn't sleep. I just sat in the dark, staring at the photo I'd taken Hannah and Mark, smiling like a couple who didn't have a care in the world. Every nerve in my body screamed that this was it. I couldn't pretend anymore. I couldn't keep living in her lies. The next morning, I told her to come over. When she walked in, she was all sweetness, kissing me, curling up on the couch like nothing was wrong. I didn't kiss her back. I pulled out my phone, opened the photo, and shoved it in her face. Her smile evaporated. Explain this, I demanded. She froze, eyes flicking from the screen to me. Where did you? Don't stall, just explain. For the first time, she didn't fake innocence. She didn't laugh or brush it off. She just sighed. You weren't supposed to see that, she said softly. My chest tightened. So, it's true. You and Mark, all of it. She sat down, burying her face in her hands. It's complicated? No, I snapped. It's actually really simple. You cheated. You lied. And you dragged me into whatever sick game you and him are playing. Her eyes flashed, and for a second, I saw it, the mask slipping. Cold, calculating. Not the Hannah I thought I loved. You don't understand, she said sharply. Mark isn't just some fling. He's in charge. In charge of what? She hesitated, then whispered, all of it. The meetings, the hotels, the clients, even me. My blood ran cold. So, you're telling me you're his what? Girlfriend, employee, accomplice. Her lips trembled. Both. The air left my lungs. She looked me dead in the eye. It started small, just photos, dinners. He said it was easy money, that no one would ever know, but then he got in deep, with people you don't mess with, and once I was in, I couldn't get out. Bullshit. I spat. I saw you with him, laughing, kissing. You weren't scared. You were happy. Her silence was answer enough. Finally, she whispered, I cared about you. I still do. But Mark, he owns me, and now that you've seen too much, he'll come for you too. My stomach flipped. She wasn't warning me like a victim. She was warning me like an accomplice, like someone who already knew what was coming. Just then, her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, face going pale. Without a word, she shoved it in her pocket and stood. I have to go. Where? I demanded. She didn't answer. She just looked at me one last time, eyes full of something I couldn't read. Fear, regret, maybe even love, and whispered, don't follow me this time. For your own sake. The door slammed shut. And as I sat there, shaking, one horrifying thought settled in my mind. Hannah wasn't just living a double life. She'd chosen her side, and it wasn't mine. After Hannah walked out that night, I knew it was over, not just our relationship. My normal life. I couldn't unsee the list of clients, couldn't unhear the man in the hotel room, couldn't forget the photo of her kissing Mark, but more than anything, I couldn't live with the silence. I needed answers. Real ones. So I followed her again, this time, not to a hotel, not to a bar. To a warehouse on the edge of town. It was almost midnight. The place looked abandoned, broken windows, graffiti, rusting metal doors. But when Hannah pulled up in a sleek black car, the truth hit me. This wasn't some seedy side hustle. This was organized, controlled. I parked a block away and crept closer, heart in my throat. Through a crack in the warehouse door, I saw them. Hannah, Mark, and the man in the suit. They stood around a table littered with photos, stacks of cash, and laptops. I couldn't hear everything, but I caught pieces. New clients in LA. Leverage if they refuse to pay. Keep the girls in line. My stomach twisted. This wasn't just escort work. It was a blackmail ring. Hannah wasn't just in it. She was part of the machine. I wanted to burst in, scream, drag her out of there, but my rational brain screamed louder. If I went in now, I wouldn't come out. So instead, I pulled out my phone and snapped photos. Evidence. Proof. But then, the floor creaked under me. Marks had snapped up. Someone's here. Panic surged through me. I bolted back into the shadows, heart slamming in my chest. I heard footsteps, voices, the scrape of a door opening. But somehow, by some miracle, they didn't see me. I didn't go home. I drove straight to Jason's place, banged on his door, and shoved the photos in his hands. Jesus Christ, he whispered, flipping through them. This is bigger than I thought. No kidding, I snapped. What the hell do I do? He looked at me, eyes deadly serious. You either run, or you burn them down. For the next 3 days, I barely slept. My brain was a storm of fear and rage. Every time my phone buzzed, I expected it to be another threat. Every time I saw a black car on the street, I thought it was them. But I knew one thing for sure. I couldn't just sit back and wait. So I made a choice. I sent the photos to everyone. Not to cops, I didn't trust them, but to news outlets, independent journalists, anonymous forums. I dropped the evidence everywhere I could, making sure if something happened to me, the truth would already be out. And then, I waited. It didn't take long. Within 24 hours, the story blew up. Local escort ring exposed, university ties alleged. Twitter, Reddit, news feeds, it was everywhere. And Hannah, she called me dozens of times. I didn't answer. Finally, she left a voicemail. You don't know what you've done. They're going to come for me. And for you. Please, call me back. I can fix this. Her voice cracked, but I didn't believe her anymore. That night, I packed a bag, because Jason was right. I had the choices, and staying wasn't one of them. I don't know what happened to Hannah after that. Some say she vanished before the police raid started. Some say she flipped on Mark to save herself. Me. I don't want to know, because the girl I thought I loved never existed. She was just a mask, and behind it was someone I'll never understand. Sometimes, late at night, my phone buzzes from an unknown number. No words, just a photo of Hannah. Smiling. Like she's still watching me.